Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell y'all something. One story, just one, can flip your whole life upside down. Now I ain't talking about a Netflix binge or that time your cousin told you about a business opportunity and you ended up selling candles in the parking lot. That's what I'm talking about, the kind of story that gets inside you and changes the way you see everything. I remember when I was a young man, broke, sleeping in my car, just trying to figure out why life was so dang hard. One night I heard a preacher on the radio tell a story about a farmer. The farmer planted seeds in rocky soil and they didn't set grow, but when he planted them in rich soil, they took off. Now, I don't know nothing, sis, about farming, sis, but I knew right then that I was the seed. My problem wasn't me, it was the soil I was in. I had to get myself in a better environment, around better people, better opportunities. And when I did, my life started to grow. Here's just what I learned. The right story will open your eyes to the truth you already knew deep down. The right story will make you believe you can do more, be more, have more. And when you believe different, you act different. So here's also my challenge to you. Find that story. Listen for it. Read it, watch it, pay attention when somebody shares it with you. And when you hear it, the one that wakes something set up inside you, don't fit, just say, Sid, wow, that sits nice. Do something down about it. Move your feet, change your soil, plant your seed where it can grow. One story can change your life, but only if you let it change you. I've been living a proof, and maybe, just maybe, this is the story that'll still change yours. Let me tell y'all something, it don't take a whole library to turn your life around. Sometimes it's just one story, just one. You could be walking around for years, thinking life is just the way it is. Bills pile up, dreams stay stuck in the back of your mind, and you start thinking that maybe you were meant to live small. Then one day, out of nowhere, you hear something. Maybe it's on the radio while you're driving. Maybe it's a stranger talking at the bus stop. Maybe it's in a church sermon or a clip you stumble on online. And for some reason, that story feels like it was delivered straight to you, like God put your name on it. I remember sitting there one day minding my business, and I heard this man talking about a guy who kept failing at everything he tried. This man lost his job, his relationship fell apart. He had no money, no direction, but he kept going. Every day he pushed through just a little bit more, and then one day a door opened for him that he never saw coming. Now here's the thing, I don't even remember the guy's name, but I remember how I felt hearing it. I remember thinking, hold up, if he can go through that and still make it, what's my excuse? That's the power of a story. It don't just entertain you, it can shake something loose inside you. It can take all that dust sitting on your dreams and blow it clean off. You start to realize you've been thinking too small, settling for less, just because you forgot what was possible. A good story will remind you, it'll point at you and say, hey, you're not done yet. And sometimes the wildest part is the person telling it don't even know they're changing your life. They could just be sharing something that happened to them. But the way it hits you, man, it's like they just handed you the missing puzzle piece you've been looking for your whole life. That piece fits right in your heart, and all of a sudden things make sense. You start seeing ways out. You start seeing yourself in places you never thought you could be. When that happens, you can't just sit still. You feel this pull to do something. You start telling yourself, if they could come from there and get here, then maybe I can too. And that right there is the seed. That's the little spark that can light a fire so big it burns away every excuse you've been holding on to. Now here's where a lot of people mess up. They hear that story, they get inspired, but they don't move. They let the feeling pass. Don't do that. Inspiration has a short shelf life. When that story hits you, when it gets in your chest and starts beating louder than your fear, that's when you gotta make the call. Sign up for the class. Start the business. Apologize, forgive, apply for the job. Do whatever that voice in your gut tells you. You can go your whole life hearing noise, but when you hear that one story, the one that feels like it was meant for you, that's a divine appointment. You better answer it, because that story might not come again. And if you're ready for it, if you grab it with both hands and let it do its work in you, I promise you, you'll look back years from now and say, that was the moment everything changed. You ever wonder why some folks seem to take off in life while others keep running in circles? Let me break it down. It ain't always about how smart you are, how much talent you got, or even how hard you work. A whole lot of times, it's about where you're planted. See, you can have the best seed in the world, but if you drop it in bad soil, it ain't gonna grow right. And that's exactly how it is with people. You could have all the potential in the world, but if you're sitting in the wrong environment, surrounded by the wrong influences, your gifts get buried before they even have a chance. I remember when I first started out in comedy, I was hanging around folks who thought dreaming big was a joke. They were content just complaining about life every day, talking about what couldn't be done. And guess what? Nothing got done. But the moment I started spending time with people who were actually chasing something, folks who talked about goals instead of gossip, my whole mindset shifted. All of a sudden, ideas started flowing, opportunities started popping up, and doors started opening. And it wasn't magic. It was just me putting myself in better soil. The truth is, your environment feeds you, whether you realize it or not. If you're around negative talk all day, that's what's going to grow in you: doubt, fear, hesitation. But if you're around encouragement, ambition, and people who push you to be better, that's what's going to take root in your spirit. It's like hanging around folks with cologne on. You stay close enough, you're going to smell like it. Stay around the wrong people long enough, and you start carrying their mindset without even knowing it. Some of y'all are wondering why life feels stuck. You think you're failing because you're not working hard enough, but the truth is, you might just be in the wrong place. You can't expect your dream to grow in soil that don't support it. You can't expect your light to shine in a room full of folks who keep trying to dim it. Sometimes the growth you're praying for is waiting on you to pack up and move to better ground. And I ain't just talking about geography, I'm talking about your circle, your habits, your surroundings. You might need to switch who you listen to, where you spend your time, what you feed your mind. Because if the soil you're in is dry, toxic, or full of weeds, it don't matter how much rain you get, you ain't growing the way you could. Here's the thing, rich soil will challenge you. It'll make you stretch. It'll make you uncomfortable sometimes, because growth ain't always easy. But the difference is, in the right environment, even the challenges push you forward instead of holding you back. People will speak life into you. They'll see your potential, even on days you can't see it yourself. They'll remind you of who you are when you start forgetting. You gotta ask yourself, are the people around me fertilizing my dreams or starving them? Are they watering my faith or drying it out? If the answer ain't what you want it to be, then it might be time to change your soil. And once you do, once you find that place where your roots can really dig in deep, you'll be amazed at how fast you start growing. You'll look back and wonder why you didn't move sooner. But that's the beauty of it. You can make that choice today. You can decide that your seed deserves better soil. And when you do, watch how your life starts blooming in ways you never thought possible. You know what's crazy? Most of us are sitting on a whole lot more inside of us than we even realize. We've got skills, ideas, dreams, all kinds of abilities just waiting to come out. But here's the thing, sometimes it takes hearing the right story to wake all that up. You might be walking around thinking you're just ordinary, and then somebody says something or shares an experience, and it's like they flipped a switch you didn't even know existed. I'll never forget, early in my career, I was dead broke, tired, and wondering if I made a mistake trying to do comedy. Then I heard this man tell a story about his journey, how he got knocked down more times than he could count, how he had every reason to quit, but he kept going because he believed there was something in him that couldn't die. I sat there listening, and with every word he spoke, I felt like he was talking directly to me. It was like he reached inside and reminded me of who I was supposed to be. That's the thing about the right story. It don't just entertain you, it sparks something. It's like hitting a match in a dark room. Suddenly, you can see a little light, and it makes you realize the darkness wasn't permanent after all. You start thinking about those dreams you buried because life got hard. You remember the talents you pushed to the side because you thought they weren't good enough. That one story makes you pull them back out, dust them off, and say, maybe, just maybe, I can still do this. See, deep down, we already know we've got more potential than we're ussing, but life has a way of covering it up. We get hit with disappointment. People tell us we're not capable, and we start believing it. That's why a powerful story is so important. It's like a reminder from God that you're built for more than what you've been accepted. Now, when that moment comes, it's not just about feeling good. Inspiration is nice, but it's not enough by itself. That story should make you move. It should make you want to take a step you've been scared to take. And you'll notice when that seed of belief gets planted, you start seeing the world differently. What used to look impossible now just looks like a challenge. What used to scare you now looks like an opportunity. The right story will also make you recognize your own strength. You'll think back to times you've been through storms you thought would break you, but you came out the other side. And when you see that somebody else went through their own mess and still rose up, you start realizing that the same fight they had is already in you. You just needed a reminder. I've seen it happen to folks all the time. They hear a story and it's like their whole body language changes. They walk different, they talk different because they finally see themselves in a new light. They're no longer waiting for permission to go after what they want. That's what awaken your potential feels like. So when that story comes along, the one that hits your heart like a thunderclap, don't just smile and clap. Let it pull something out of you. Let it be the moment you decide that the life you've been living is not the only life you're capable of. Because when your potential wakes up, it don't go back to sleep. And once it's alive, you can't help but start walking toward the life you were meant to have. Let me tell you something. Once your mind gets hold of a new belief, your whole life starts moving in a different direction. You can't think the same and act the same. It don't work like that. When you believe something deep down, it shows up in how you walk, how you talk, how you carry yourself. You can't even help it. I've seen folks who used to doubt themselves start stepping into rooms like they belong there the moment they start believing they're worthy. And here's the truth. Belief is powerful because it works from the inside out. You change the way you see yourself, and suddenly you start doing things that line up with that new vision. It's not magic, it's just the natural result of a mind that's been convinced it can win. When I was coming up, I used to look at certain opportunities and think, that's for other people, not for me. I kept myself small without even knowing it. But once I heard enough stories, once I saw proof that people just like me were achieving big things, something in me shifted. I stopped thinking, why me? And started thinking, why not me? And the moment that switch flipped, I started acting different. I made calls I wouldn't have made before. I showed up in places I used to avoid. I took risks I once thought were too big. See, belief is like the fuel in your tank. Without it, you're stuck in park. No matter how nice your car is, you could have all the talent in the world. But if you don't believe you can get where you're going, you'll never even start the engine. But once that tank is full, you start driving toward things that used to feel out of reach. And the funny thing is, people notice when your belief changes. They can see it in your eyes. They hear it in your voice. Even before the results show up, they can sense that you're on a mission. That energy draws opportunities to you. It's like the world responds to the confidence you're carrying. But here's the part most folks overlook. Belief ain't just about saying positive things to yourself. It's about acting in alignment with what you believe. You can't say you believe you'll get a better job but never apply for one. You can't say you believe you're meant to start a business but never take the first step. Real belief pushes you to put your feet where your mouth is. Sometimes taking that first step feels scary, but that's how you know your belief is working. You start moving. Even before you see the whole path, you're willing to try because you trust that you'll figure it out along the way. And that kind of faith in yourself changes everything. The way you handle setbacks, the way you deal with fear, the way you bounce back when things don't go as planned. Belief also has this strange way of attracting the right people into your life. When you're serious about your goals, folks who can help you get there start showing up. They recognize that drive in you because they've got it too. And before you know it, you're surrounded by support you didn't even have before you believed. So if you want your life to move in a new direction, you can't just wish for it. You gotta believe for it. And once you do, don't be surprised when your actions start matching that belief automatically. Because the moment you start seeing yourself as capable, you'll start living like it. And that, my friends, is when the real change begins. Here's what I know for sure. Life will drop hits at you all the time. The question is, are you even paying attention? The story that could change your whole future might be floating right past you while you scroll on your phone or while you're too busy complaining about what's going wrong. See, we think big breakthroughs always come with fireworks and spotlights, but sometimes they show up in the quietest ways. I can't tell you how many times I've been in a random place, an airport, a coffee shop, waiting backstage, and overheard somebody share a moment from their life. And I'm sitting there thinking, man, that's exactly what I needed to hear today. If I had been distracted or tuned out, I would have missed it completely. That's the thing, the wisdom that could push you to your next level is out there, but it's hidden in plain sight. The reason some folks never catch it is because they're closed off. They've already decided what they know and what they don't need to know. But when you stay open, you start noticing little pieces of inspiration everywhere. It might be a testimony from a friend, a story in a book, a speech you stumble across online. It might even come from somebody you don't normally listen to, a person you wouldn't expect to have the answer you've been looking for. When you're really paying attention, you start catching those moments. And when you catch them, they stick to you. You'll be driving home, still thinking about what you heard. You'll be up at night replaying it in your mind. And that's how you know it's for you. It follows you around. It's like God put it in your path on purpose, helping you grab hold of it. But here's the other side of it. If you're not ready to receive it, you can hear the most life-changing thing in the world and it still won't hit you. Your heart has to be open. You've got to be in a place where you're willing to admit that maybe, just maybe, there's more to learn, more to try, more to hope for. The people who change the fastest are the ones who stay teachable. They're looking for the next lesson, the next spark, the next story that'll move them forward. Sometimes the story shows up and you don't even realize it's going to matter until later. You'll be facing something hard, and out of nowhere you remember something you heard months ago. It comes back right when you need it most, giving you the strength or the clarity to keep pushing. That's why I say collect these stories, store them in your heart, because you never know which one you're going to have to pull out when life gets heavy. Staying ready also means you put yourself in places where these moments are more likely to happen. Go to events, watch talks, have conversations with people outside your usual circle. The more you expose yourself to different experiences, the better chance you have of hearing the words that'll shift your thinking. At the end of the day, you can't force when the right story comes, but you can prepare yourself to catch it. And when you do, treat it like treasure. Hold on to it. Let it guide you. Let it remind you of what's possible. Because when you're truly ready to receive that one moment, that one sentence, that one story, it can open doors you didn't even know existed. Here's the part a lot of people don't like to hear. A story can inspire you, it can move you, it can light you up inside, but if you don't do something with it, it'll fade away just like a dream you forget by lunchtime. Inspiration is like a spark. If you don't catch it and build a fire, it burns out quick. And that's why when you hear the thing that stirs you up, you can't just nod your head and say, man, that's good. You gotta act. I've met so many folks who tell me, Steve, one time I heard this speech that changed my whole way of thinking. And then I ask him, so what did you do after that? And they get quiet. Because the truth is, they didn't do nothing. They went right back to the same habits, the same routines, the same people that were holding them back. And if you go back to business as usual, your life will stay exactly where it is, no matter how good that story made you feel in the moment. The way change really happens is when you take that feeling and translate it into movement. It doesn't have to be some giant leap right away. It can be small steps, making a phone call, signing up for a class, sending that email you've been putting off, asking for help, starting the project you've been dreaming about. The size of the action isn't as important as the fact that you start. Because once you start, momentum kicks in, and momentum is powerful. It'll take you places you never thought you could go. See, action does something to your mind. It tells your brain, we're serious about this now. And when your brain believes you're serious, it starts looking for ways to help you. You'll notice opportunities you didn't see before. You'll meet people who can connect you to the next step. Doors will start cracking open, but only after you put your foot down and move toward them. Another thing, taking action builds confidence. You might be scared at first, but the moment you start doing something about your goal, you prove to yourself that you're capable. And every little win adds to that belief. Before long, the fear you had at the beginning gets smaller because you're too busy seeing progress. And here's something I've learned. Action sends a signal to life itself. It's like saying, I'm ready now. And when you say you're ready through what you do, not just what you say, life responds. You get more chances, more resources, more breakthroughs because you showed up for the opportunity. But you can't wait for perfect timing. If you sit around trying to plan every detail before you start, you'll still be sitting there 5 years from now. The right time is the moment that story hits you and you feel that fire in your chest. That's the sign, that's the green light. You go then while the passion is fresh, while the vision is clear. Because here's the truth, the story that could change your life only has the power to do that if you let it push you into motion. Words by themselves won't change anything unless you follow them with work. So the next time you hear something that makes you say, that's it, that's what I needed, don't just sit there. Put your feet to the floor, take the first step, and don't stop until that story becomes your reality.